So we will now move from Mauritius to the wonderful island of Rodrigues. You really should go there if you can. It's an amazing island where you get to see an amazing project at the Francois Legaut Cave Reserve. And I'm very pleased to introduce Stephanio Collet, who is the animal care officer at the Francois Legaut Cave Reserve. And he's going to talk to us about that project. So over to you, Stephanio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Rich, for the invite. And so my name is Stephanio Collet, but people call me Darlin. It's more easy for them to pronounce. And so I work at the Francois Legaut Giant Tortoise Cave Reserve. And Francois Legaut, you see, is situated in Rodrigues. And for those who have never heard about Rodrigues, here it is. As you can see, Rodrigues is a very small island, which is found into the Indian Ocean. And it is not very far from Seychelles, as you can see. We can go there by foot. And as you know, Rodrigues might be quite small, but it has a lot of straight tail. And Rodrigues, as you can see here, is surrounded by the sea. And on this island, which is only about 110 square kilometers, with only about 44,000 inhabitants, there is a lot of things that you can see there. And I'm going to talk to you about the rewilding of a reserve, which is called the Francois Legaut Giant Tortoise Cave Reserve. And we can talk about rewilding, we are talking about the past. And the past, you see, we also had some giant tortoises. And a guy who was called Francois Legaut has written in a book in 1708 that there were so many tortoises on the island that people could make 100 strides only on the shores of the tortoises without treading their feet on the ground. Just to tell you that there were around 500,000 tortoises on the island at those times. And it was about 332 years ago. But unfortunately, as usual, you know what happened. So people have started to come on the island and they have started to exploit these tortoises. And between 1734 to 1771, it is supposed to have been over 280,000 tortoises which were taken from the island. They have been killed for the meat and also for the grease which have been used for oil. And there were two species of tortoises who were living here. Firstly, as you can see, we used to have the J. Cullen Cylindraspis fosmeri, which is the Rodrigues giant saddleback tortoise. And there were also another species, which was a bit smaller, which was called the J. Cullen Cylindraspis peltastis, the Rodrigues dome giant tortoise. And these two tortoises were on the island before. But there was not only tortoises in Rodrigues. As you can see, there was that bird. And that bird looked a bit like the dodo or Mauritius. It was a close cousin, because this one is called the Pesopharp solitaria, the solitaire. And the solitaire and the dodo have evolved from the same ordinary pigeon, which was called the Nicobar's pigeon. And you see the solitaire also, like the tortoises, have extinct on the island. And that's where you see the reserve is found. That's where the Francois Legaut Reserve enter in action. And the reserve, as you can see here, is not very far from the airport of Rodrigues, which is called the Plaine Corail. And in that reserve, we have also caves. We have 11 caves, which are found there. And as you can see, a beautiful reserve. And in the valley, that's where we have most of the tortoises, which are staying right now. But most of them are going to move on the top in the near future. But we don't have only the Aldabra giant tortoises in Rodrigues. There are two other species which come from Madagascar. We have that species here, which is called the radiated tortoises from Madagascar. And in 2016, we have reintroduced a third species, which is called the plowshare tortoises, as we call it in Madagascar, the Angunuk tortoises. And there are also 9 species of endemic plants which are native to this site. And this one, the rarest one, is called the Xanthoxylum paniculatum. And there are only 3 in the world. So there is one which is in our reserve, and another one which is found into another reserve which belongs to the government, the Mosquito Reserve. And before there were species here. There were invasive plants that we have pulled out to recover them with endemic and native plants. And there have been over 300,000 endemic plants which have been planted in the reserve between 2005 until now. And our aim is to recover the reserve with a lot of endemic plants. And as you can see here, we have also replants, these plants here. As you can see, Rodrigues native flora has suffered massively since the colonization of Rodrigues. Less than 0.5% of the original native forest survived. And even that is in a highly degraded state. So many native plants only survive in remote and inaccessible areas such as on cliff faces. But since 1980, there has been a growing effort to save what is left of Rodrigues native flora, led by the Mauritian Water Foundation. And since 2005, as I was telling you, Francois Legaut has established a reforestation project aiming at planting 300,000 seedlings of 40 species. Because on the island, it is supposed to have about 100 species, but we have chosen 40 species, which are firstly adapted to the kind of limestone ground that we have in at Francois Legaut, at Anskito, and also adapted to the kind of climate that we have there. Just to create the natural ecosystem. And so that's the beginning of reserve. As you can see here, we have started to replant the 40 species, and they are doing very well because about 97% of these plants have survived. And the project of rewilding, which is the reintroduction of a species of animals that have been driven out of exterminated to a natural environment, because Rodrigues was, as you can see, the world's highest density of land tortoises. It took humans only 100 years to drive both of these endemic species to extinction. And as I was telling you earlier, over 280,000 tortoises were taken away on ships or killed for meat and oil. But in 2006, the first tortoises have started to come on the island, coming from the crocodile vanilla park. They have come in Rodrigues by boat. And they have come to the reserve of Francois Legaut. And Rodrigues, as you can see here before, was covered with not only tortoises, but some other animals, like the red whales. And now we have started the program of rewilding. And these tortoises, as you can see, they don't live in enclosures. They are like in a natural environment. The reserve is fenced, and it is a reserve which is about 18 hectares. And we have all these tortoises that you can see, which are roaming around freely. And as I was telling you, our last species which has come in the reserve, the Angunook tortoises, which is from Bali Bay, northwest coast of Madagascar, the radiated tortoises, which is from coastal shrub and dry spiny forest in southern Madagascar, and of course, the Aldabra giant tortoises. And so these are the three species which are living very peacefully among each other. And this is the reintroduction of the Aldabra tortoises on the 13th of October, 2006. And they have come on a boat which is called the Maurice Pride. So it was quite an event on the island at this time. And at the back, you can see the director manager of the Francois Legaut, Mr. Owen Griffith, and his wife, Owen Griffith, releasing the first tortoises in the nursery. And these tortoises have been carried like that by men from big trucks into the reserve. And the reserve looked like that before. There was nothing, only the grasses. And we have already started to plant, but the plants were, as you can see, very small. And the rewilding of the two analog species is so successful that today there are more than 8,000 individuals, including babies at Francois Legaut. And we are doing very well because since 2008, we have started to have our first baby on the 8th January 2008. And until now, there have been 5,345 Aldabra giant tortoise babies for 2,116 radiated babies. And since 2019, we have also started to have some Angunook babies, which is 63 until now, which make a total of over 8,000 tortoises, 8,099 exactly, but we have in the reserve, at the Francois Legaut Reserve. But we don't only raise these tortoises in the Francois Legaut Reserve, But we have also released some of them into a nature reserve, which is called the Grand Mountain Reserve. And they are taking care by the Mauritian Wildlife Foundation. And they have been 10 of them, which have been released since 2019. And as you can see, these people are carrying these tortoises on the Grand Mountain Reserve. And here they have been released into the reservoir, which is also covered with a lot of endemic and native plants. And it is found a bit, you see, at high altitude. And these tortoises, they are very free here. Well, they are happy to have been released inside that reserve. But we don't only take care of them, we also do some research work. As you can see here, we have put some tracker on the tortoises, but there's only one tracker, but we change tortoises each time, just to know, to locate them and to know how much kilometer they can do during a day. And you can see how much these tortoises are just walking around, but it doesn't go very far. It is quite territorial. And we also take care of our animals that we have here. And what you're seeing here is that we are doing the sexing of these tortoises, especially the young radiated tortoises, to know which sex they are, if they are males or females at a young age. And there has been the Dr. Stephen Divers and also Jessica Comoli have come here during the month of, in Rodrigues, during the month of May, to help us to determine what sex these tortoises are. And there have been 234 which have been sexed. And we also do some genetic species. And there has been a guy who has come there in 2016, I think, who helped us. And they are taking some blood samples on the Aldabra Giant Tortoise. And we also do some volunteer program because we have people, especially students, who come over the world to help us in what we are trying to do. And during especially the holidays. And we have also some group of students who also come from Réunion, from Rodrigues, and from Mauritius, who help us also to do some volunteering things with us there. And as you can see, we have is an aerial vision of a reserve, and all the tortoises are most found into the valley. But now, some of the tortoises are also everywhere on the site because we don't stay only in the reserve. Some of them have climbed up a stair of 54 steps. But now we have released also some other tortoises on the valley so that they can have all this place so that they can move and wander around. And here you see it is in the canyon TL where most of the tortoises are found. As you can see, these tortoises, they are very happy. There are quite of them, about 400 into the canyon of TL, and they are living freely. And they have also interaction with the visitors when they come, people who can just touch them, cuddle them, and also speak to them sometimes, because they also understand all languages. And now you see the replantation that we have done, because before there was nothing inside this canyon. And you see the endemic species, the species which is called the Sarcanthenum, and also the Latania that we have replanted to provide shade and also food for these tortoises. But this one in the canyon, we feed them maybe about twice or thrice a week, and we give them water about twice or so a week. And for the reserve, it's okay. But here you can see some other pictures of Rodrigues. If you want to change air to come to the island, we don't have only the sea. We have also this place which is called the Trou d'Argent, which is one of the most visited places of the island. And you have also a view of Rodrigues. And also some places, some coastal places that you can see. There's a lot of places to see. And also some islets which are on the island. And this is the Grand Cavern, which is also found in the reserve of Francois Legaut. And this is a showcase that you can also visit. And also during the kitesurf festival, you can see people you see doing some kitesurf there. You can also do kitesurf if you're interested, which is found at Morocco. And I thank you very much for your attention and hope to see you soon in Rodrigues. And these are all our partners. Thank you very much.